Master Your Communication. By John Willson, Chapter 3. Mastering the art of body language communication is the foundation of healthy relationships. Both you and I contribute equally to the sharing. As we learn more about one another through conversation, our bond strengthens. The difficulty comes from the fact that so much communication is nonverbal. If I'm irritated with you, I might not tell you verbally, but I might physically pull away from you by crossing my arms, angling my feet towards the door, or avoiding eye contact. If you miss my bodily cues, it could be too late to realize something is wrong. It's possible to be aware of the signals other people are conveying with their bodies, yet still be completely unaware of what your own body is saying. However much you'd like others to approach you, it won't happen if your body language is chilly and distant. Thankfully, it's not hard to use body language constructively in your conversations. Here, I'll outline the basic, actionable ideas that will be the foundation for your body language expertise. The heart of mastering body language is learning how to decode comfort or discomfort signals. Our ability to read each other's body language is a major factor in our ability to communicate. You know to check in with a friend whose demeanor betrays distress. When a friend's body language indicates they're interested in what you're saying, you know it's time to keep talking. This is practical information. The complexity of body language is one of its many flaws. If you're not Paul Ekman or prepared to put in decades of study, you won't be able to decode all of the hundreds of messages your body can transmit. You won't have to memorize them all, which is good news. There are just two signals, comfort and discomfort, that you need to pick up on. Signals of contentment indicate that the person being observed is in a positive emotional state. When people like each other, have a good time, and have nothing to worry about, they emit comfort signals. When you start to feel uneasy, you should pay attention. When something irritates us, when we're not feeling pleased, or when we're not enjoying the task or contact, we send out discomfort signals. How to respond to comfort and discomfort signals. When your partner gives you signals of comfort or discomfort, you can learn much about their emotional state. You can better understand your partner's feelings and react appropriately once you do. Take a look at how it operates below. Red light/green light is a good analogy for these signals. Getting the "I'm good here" signal is a good sign. Once given the go-ahead, you must sit back and enjoy the conversation. Watch for any discomfort in their body language. Otherwise, feel free to continue with your normal activities. Getting the "I'm not comfortable" signal is a red, or at least yellow warning light. If the light turns red, you must make your conversation partner more at ease. Determine the source of their distress and work to remedy it if possible. This is the proper way to employ body language in conversation. 1. Pay attention to your partner's body language to gauge whether or not they feel at ease. 2. Let your guard down if they're not experiencing any discomfort. 3. Determine the source of their distress and work to alleviate it. Instances of physical comfort and discomfort. The actual execution of this is quite easy. Let me illustrate with an example. A friend of mine questioned me a few days ago, and in response, I went on an extended ramble. About halfway through my reply, I noticed various pain cues emanating from their bodies. Oops. I understood they felt awkward because of my lengthy response. They had anticipated a brief reply, not a long lecture. My friend's body language improved after I shortened my lengthy explanation. They never came out and said they were bored, but their body language told me all I needed to know. Having learned to read their body language, I could immediately see they were getting uncomfortable, so I kept my response brief. In a constant stream, people's bodies convey their level of comfort or unease to you. It will be much easier to engage positively with others if you learn to recognize and react to these body language cues. Of course, you need to be able to read cues for ease or discomfort to react to body language in this way. You should also be able to analyze the situation to determine whether or not your spouse is at ease. Luckily, we will address all of these issues in the coming chapters. Comfort signals. Receiving a sense of ease is a fantastic indicator. Knowing that your conversation partner is at ease allows you to unwind and focus on the topic. You can use many cues to gauge someone's level of ease. but the ones that matter are highlighted below. You want to find regularities in the data signals. Multiple comfort body language signals are communicated when a person is relaxed and at ease. The following is a list of frequent and simple to recognize signals. This is by no means a full list of comfort signals, but it is sufficient for establishing whether or not someone is at ease. Crucial reassurance signs. 1. Leaning closer to you physically or emotionally. They want to get closer to you when they feel at ease with you or are interested in what you have to say. You can interpret this as, if someone feels close to me, they want to be close to me. Numerous strategies exist for breaking down barriers. There will be instances when your partner leans toward you, and that's a good thing. Sometimes they will physically get closer to you, such as by scooting closer to you on the floor. They might also try to clear the space between you two by moving an impediment out of the way, like putting down their dish at a restaurant. When someone is looking in your direction, you can tell by their feet, even if their body language is mild. It's possible someone would deliberately turn to face you, but most people can't tell you what their feet are up to. Therefore, if someone faces their feet toward you, see it as a message of true comfort and warmth. 2. The head is either tilted or rests on the hand. The curious head tilt, on the other hand, is contrasted by the attentive headrest on the hand. Both signify coziness. People who are attentive typically lean forward, placing an elbow on a table and holding their hand over their head. 3. Tucking one foot under a couch mostly happens with women. This is an extremely potent female-only signal. In social situations, it is common for a girl to tuck one leg under and turn to face a trusted friend or partner. Consider yourself fortunate if you are the recipient. It's a sign that she likes spending time with you a lot. 4. The smile of, "I'm totally into this." No one will be smiling the whole time maniacally, like the Joker, in which case you should be very worried. The corners of people's mouths, though, tend to curve upward when they're having a good time. The "I'm digging this" smile is a subtle sign that the audience is enjoying themselves. The presence of this grin is encouraging if you happen to be sharing a humorous story with your companions. 5. Actual contact. It's a good indicator of how close someone feels to you if they touch your shoulder to catch your attention, place their hand on your knee to check in on how you are, or offer you a hug when they first meet you. Don't take it personally if nobody touches you. People have very different comfort levels regarding physical contact. A person's physical contact with you indicates that they are at least somewhat at ease in your company. Knowing how to read nonverbal cues. It's a lot to take in at once, but focusing on ease and difficulty is much more manageable than learning every nuance of body language. Thankfully, you won't be tested on all of these at once. I'll give you an exercise that will make it much easier to memorize the many aspects of body language. Here's a simple exercise you can do. Pick a few signals at random. Now is the time to turn on the TV and watch some entertainment. You want a live-action program with lots of character interactions, right? If not, you might want to look into something else to watch. Due to the high volume of dialogue, reality television makes an excellent viewing option. Watch the show and pay attention to the character's body language to decipher the signals you've selected. Feel free to rewind the action to examine a signal in greater detail. Repeat this process until you feel comfortable recognizing the signs in a real-world setting. As soon as you feel confident in your ability to spot those indications in a genuine interaction, select a few more and begin your search. The ability to search for all the above signals will develop over time. Little by little, reading and responding to people's nonverbal cues becomes second nature. It's not hard to figure out how your spouse feels once you know what to look for in terms of patterns of signals. How to read discomfort signals. The ability to handle social interactions depends on both comfort and discomfort signals working simultaneously. Knowing when someone is feeling uneasy allows you to alleviate their distress rapidly. You'll know you've effectively brought the talk back on course when the other person sends positive signals again. Like reassuring signals, Uneasy ones occur in clusters and are best deciphered when placed in their broader cultural context. As soon as you notice a negative emotion, it's important to consider the broader context and any other positive or negative signs you may have seen. I have made an inventory of the typical warning signs of discomfort. These signals are the best place to start because they are both ubiquitous and simple to identify. This is not an all-inclusive list. As you gain familiarity with other discomfort cues, feel free to incorporate them into your toolkit. All you need is this short list to begin picking up on people's indications of discomfort and using that knowledge to improve your relationships with them. Signs of major discomfort. 1. Touching or rubbing the neck. Many nerve endings in your neck are responsible for a massage's calming and comforting effects. People unconsciously touch their necks when anxious to stimulate these nerves and feel better. The most common form of neck touching is rubbing or stroking on the front or back of the neck, though some people may also play with their necklace or necktie. 2. Physical contact with the face. Many people find it reassuring to rub their faces whenever they need a little pick-me-up because of all the nerve endings there. Keep an eye out for self-soothing motions like rubbing the forehead and eyes, playing with the hair, and rubbing the lips. In addition, sometimes people will exaggeratedly puff out their cheeks. 3. Knee rubs. A seated person does this by placing their hands, palm down on their legs and bringing them towards their knees. One way to visualize this is as someone wiping their sweaty palms on their pants. 4. Being reluctant to engage or shutting down. Suppose one party to a conversation starts to feel uneasy about the other person or the subject of discussion. In that case, they may try to distance themselves from their companion by standing further back or putting something between them. They may shift their seat so their back is turned to the other person, place their arms across their chest, or set one knee in front of the other's face to avoid eye contact. But this signal needs to be handled with caution. Some people may lean back in their chairs or cross their legs for comfort, while others may cover their laps with their arms to keep warm. It's important to consider everything. So if you see some crossed arms and legs, but otherwise encouraging signals, everything's likely fine. 5. Turning away their feet. One's feet can tell a lot about their mental and emotional state. When someone's feet point away from them during a conversation, it's usually a sign that they'd rather not continue. This, of course, only works if the person is in a position where they can easily point their feet at their partner. If you're sitting next to each other on a plane, for example, they won't be able to do this. If, however, both of you are standing face to face and one of you begins to move toward the exit, you should probably end the conversation politely. 6. Interrupting with their hands. This is not so much a sign of the other person's discomfort as it is an indication that they wish to speak. One common sign of wanting to say is a sudden, upward hand movement, sometimes with the index finger raised. The hand won't go all the way up. Rather, it will stop halfway up. The person intends to interject but has suppressed the impulse to do so. You would be doing them a favor if you allowed them to express themselves. 7. Almost no eye contact. No one can keep looking at you constantly, but if they look away, they should return your gaze quickly. If someone looks away from you, you should assume they are uncomfortable. Try mentioning their name in the conversation to see if they agree or disagree. Don't you think so, Amanda? Most people will look directly at you when they hear their name and maintain eye contact for several seconds. When you call someone by name and they look away quickly, could be because they feel awkward. Also, pay close attention if they keep averting their gaze from you to something else. For example, if someone keeps looking over their shoulder at another person while you're talking to them, they may want to have a conversation with that person. Sensing and responding to negative body language cues. It's not enough to recognize when someone is uneasy. You must also do something to restore their ease of mind. Fortunately, it's not hard to make your partner feel at ease if you know what to do. In context analysis of body language, consider a conversation in which one participant crosses their arms, leans away from the other, and rubs their face repeatedly. This is extremely awkward body language. However, your partner's discomfort begs the question, why? Perhaps they're feeling awkward because they're not interested in the topic. Additionally, They may feel awkward about telling you that you have food stuck in your teeth. A stomachache, for example, may be the symptom of a problem that has nothing to do with you. You won't be able to pinpoint the source of their unease with just body language alone. You can tell if someone is at ease or uneasy by observing their body language, but this doesn't tell you why. That's why it's important to consider the surroundings. Where do I find it? Examining the cause of discomfort signals requires knowing three things. 1. The content of the discussion. 2. Is your conversational partner currently feeling more or less at ease? If your partner's language shifts in response to a particular question, for instance, it's possible that something about the inquiry made them feel uneasy. 3. The setting of the conversation. No conversation happens in isolation, unless you are an astronaut. Take a glance around to see what your partner may be thinking or feeling. Possible causes of your partner's sudden discomfort include an argument at a nearby table, an overcrowded room, or the appearance of an ex-girlfriend. What has your partner been through recently? Your conversation did not mark the beginning of your companion's day, and the events that occurred before you may still be affecting them. If your partner has had a stressful day at work, they may send you discomfort signals because they are still thinking about it. Making use of context. If you take the time to consider the circumstances, you will likely discover several reasons for your partner's distress. If you can, try changing the environment so your partner feels more at ease. For the sake of argument, let's say that you introduced a controversial topic and their body language immediately began to signal discomfort. Change the subject and see if their body language relaxes. Do you notice a foul odor here? You could suggest a room swap to see if that helps them feel better. And remember that if you can't deduce the source of their discomfort, it's usually okay to ask them what's wrong. You don't need to be Sherlock Holmes. It's enough that you made an honest effort to look at the context. After all, you can still try to make them more comfortable even if you don't know what's causing their discomfort. Make them their favorite drink, or switch the conversation to something lighthearted. Knowing the specific source of their discomfort is preferable, but simply being aware that they are uncomfortable goes a long way. I know that context can seem overwhelming at first, and in honesty, it will take some practice before you become comfortable with looking at context and focusing on the conversation. But as you practice, you will find that looking at the context is very simple. Looking at the bigger picture can help you figure out how to make your partner feel more at ease. When someone's body language indicates that they are uneasy, it is helpful to examine the surrounding circumstances for an explanation. Then, use that information to help you remove the source of discomfort. Practice looking at context until it becomes natural. You will have a powerful tool to add to your social skills repertoire. Of course, body language is not just about your partner's body language, or even your partner's body language combined with context. Your nonverbal cues are also important. Your nonverbal cues. You've been trained to recognize and interpret the nonverbal cues that people send you. When you see signs of discomfort on someone's body, you can investigate and hopefully eliminate the source of that distress. When one party indicates they are at ease, the other can unwind and take pleasure in the conversation. But how do other people read the signals you send with your body language? Indeed, few people have consciously trained themselves to analyze body language. However, even if the other person in the conversation never gives your body language any conscious thought, they will still respond to it. If you project friendliness and warmth through your body language, your partner will respond positively. The other person may think twice before opening up to you about something personal if you give off the vibe that you're bored or uninterested in the conversation. The discord between your actions and words. Most people, sadly, don't give much thought to their body language. People can spend much time crafting the ideal response while sending mixed signals with their body language and verbal expressions. Let's say you've had a rough day, but your friend still wants to vent to you about their problem. You want to talk to your friend because you care about them. But your friend may get the impression that you don't want to talk to them if you yawn, check the time, and lean back in your chair with your arms crossed while you do so. They walk out on you angrily, leaving you to ponder your mistakes. Obviously, you didn't say anything inappropriate. That was the point. That's just one way one's body language can lead to miscommunication. There are plenty of others. People will more likely believe the message that your body is sending than the message that your words are sending when the two are at odds with one another. If you didn't intend to send that message, it could cause problems. Your self-awareness is a great strength. The good news is that you can easily avoid encountering that problem. Pay attention to the signals your body gives you. Your physical self will always speak its mind. It's a human trait. You can ensure that your body and words communicate the same thing if you take the time to pay attention to what it says. For the record, let me explain. I'm not suggesting you fake sincerity by altering your body language. If your words convey a falsehood, you should work to correct that instead. Trusting in a dishonest partner will never lead to the closeness and happiness you seek. Instead, give a convincing presentation of the one thing that is true and crucial. Even if you're exhausted, the most important thing to convey to your friend is not that you're tired, but rather that you care about them, even though both messages are true. If you're nervous but eager to meet someone new, it's better to say, "I'm excited to meet you," rather than, "I'm nervous." Because your dedication to your friend goes beyond physical exhaustion, saying, "I care about you," is more important than saying, "I am very tired." If you want to make a new friend more than you fear rejection, then saying, "I'm excited to meet you," is the better choice of greetings. When communicating with others, it's acceptable to emphasize the points you feel are most crucial. This is not an act of deception, but rather ensuring that the most crucial information is conveyed effectively. Being conscious of your body language allows you to communicate the most authentic message with your words and actions. Keep an eye on how you're carrying yourself. You can learn as much about your body language using the lists of comfort and discomfort signals as you can from analyzing the other person. Be mindful of your body signals and actively work to dampen those that indicate discomfort while amplifying those that indicate ease. If you try to align your body language with what you're saying, you'll succeed more in social situations.